What up, what up, what up? Welcome back to the channel. All right, what's going on, guys? Jumping into a few things here for those who like the X reactions. I'm going to share my screen here. My allergies are killing me. It's all good. We'll get through it. So just going over some posts from today. Yeah, made a mistake. I thought Cointelegraph didn't include Definity in their post, which was made at 2 a.m. And in fact, they did not mention Definity Foundation until 3 hours ago in a comment on that post. So whoopsie, I jumped the gun, but also I wasn't wrong. So according to Coinbase, ICP just became the crypto's most used blockchain with 288 billion transactions. Yeah, this is real-time stuff, guys. Everything is happening in real time on Internet Computer Protocol. The network usage and demand comes from real projects, real compute usage, and just like all of the financial institutes around the world, capital markets already understand that compute is going to be a scarcity. It is a scarcity already. This is why Big Legacy Tech has invested $150 billion in the first quarter of 2026 because there's a shortage of compute demand. Now there's more AI agents transacting on the internet than humans. So that was bound to happen. Sorry, guys, 1 second. You probably hear me in the background, blowing my nose. Anyway, let's go over a few things here. Michael Saylor said they plan to buy $70 billion worth of Bitcoin, driving the price to 10 million. It's coming. This guy is an OG. He's a legend. He wasn't even in crypto or Bitcoin in the beginning, I don't think. 2016, I think he came in around.
So get me 1% or less. And I'm thinking if I come up with a few hundred billion, I might, what I've said is if we get to 5% of the network, Bitcoin's going to be $1 million a coin. If I get to 7.5% of the network, it'll be 10 million a coin. So think of it as I'm buying something, getting exponentially more expensive, using exponentially more money. And where do we top out? I think we top out between 5 and 7.5%, and then we just exponentially slow down. I'm thinking that the next $50 billion won't get me 3.2. It'll probably get me 1%.
So you have strategists like MicroStrategy, like Michael Saylor, knowing that the true potential of Bitcoin is already programmed, already factored into the price, and that demand for Bitcoin is going to increase tenfold, hundredfold, and it's going to happen. And it's going to drive other networks and markets as well as the Internet Computer Protocol. But the other thing that we have in the Internet Computer Protocol is our tokens burn cycles in order to power the internet. So when Larry Fink from BlackRock says, he believes that the future commodity is compute, how many public or decentralized networks have computation as a commodity, utility, or blue token? There's only one. It's Internet Computer Protocol. I mean, you're basically buying future demand for network capacity, for computing, for launching and running websites, apps, and games. So we're at such an undervalued, misunderstood time and place in the crypto market that eventually we're going to see commodity in compute being sold as futures, and it'll run the price up. This is what happened in the beginning of launch of Internet Computer Protocol, that I think that FTX had leveraged ICP futures in order to pump the price on launch and then quickly dumped on the market to get out to basically steal the money from everybody. So, but Michael Saylor's the guy. He's the man. This guy is the guy. So look at this week. ADA generated less than 1,000 in revenue. 1,000 in revenue. and I think Internet Computer Protocol is transacting $3,000 a day, somewhere in that range. So while expenses reach 752,000, DeFi's dead liquidity is shrinking, which is true. So are these projects going to continue to bleed? I think that a lot of these blockchains are going to die, and we're going to see capital flow into Bitcoin again. It's going to drive the next push. People are going to FOMO in at this price, and then the Internet Computer Protocol is going to have a battle-tested, battle-hardened place in the industry for the work that Definity Foundation has done. Plus, content creators are reporting on. So, Alex Blockchain Pill is a great presenter and is a great great person to follow, and also All in Crypto, which I'm scheduling a podcast session with All in Crypto, so I'm looking forward to that. We can see Tesla for the first time ever, an imported vehicle became the best-selling car in South Korea, and it's Tesla Model Y, not just the best-selling EV. Wow. So Tesla continues to grow. And I think the SpaceX IPO is launching Friday, which is supposed to be the biggest in history. $135 a share in the public markets. Keep an eye on that. That's going to be massive. I think a lot of corporations, companies, capital markets are basically waiting to put their money into SpaceX. It's going to be wild. Another underrated content creator, ICP Apprentice. Amazing concepts. Really takes real world examples to illustrate how important Internet Computer Protocol is as a global compute system, as an operating system for AI.
That word meant failure. A product that never shipped, a promise that never became real.
Basically talks about how the industry took white papers back in 2018 as a vaporware style business model to project into the markets to raise money and capital without delivering any projects. So that's what the majority of DeFi projects have been, altcoins, where Internet Computer Protocol has always been backed by Definity Foundation, countries and governments, and again, the most undervalued project in the DeFi space, in the blockchain space, in the full stack decentralized compute space. So it's an all-in-one, does all, fix all investment utility project that you can develop on using caffeine.ai. Is a zero barrier to entry. Go to caffeine.ai, sign up, launch your website, app, or game, and take advantage of owning a part of the new revolutionary internet technology, the layer of internet network called the Internet Computer Protocol, just by owning tokens. And you can stake your tokens for up to 2 years to get 7 or 8% return on investment as governance voting rewards. So you can follow other people or neurons that vote on the network governance. You can just follow Definity Foundation, assuming that you want to bet with the house and not against the house. They generally make the best decisions for the network, and they're the largest voting weight in the ecosystem because they have the most invested. So if you look at $500 million invested in developing on the Internet Computer Protocol, then by rights, they should have the most voting power than anybody else until new foundations come in. And if we get more foundations coming in building on the Internet Computer Protocol, then we'll see, we'll see different weight in how the network is governed. But so far, we've got one foundation, and Ethereum has had more than 10 foundations since 2018, and we just had 9 foundations exit the Ethereum the Ethereum project, the Ethereum blockchain project. So people are understanding that there's a very limited technical capability with Ethereum, with copycat blockchains, with blockchains that depend on big legacy tech, cloud infrastructure, the existing internet today. Amazon owns 80% of the internet in the Western countries worldwide. Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Facebook own a large majority of the other 20%. So the Internet Computer Protocol having 1,000 nodes like satellites all over the world, independent encrypted nodes that cannot be hacked, has essentially done what Bitcoin has done for money. So Bitcoin is sovereign money. ICP, Internet Computer Protocol, is sovereign compute, sovereign AI. ICP is the Bitcoin of AI, because more and more AI are going to settle transactions on the least path of resistance, where there's less friction. It's all based on my thesis that I'm developing and sandboxing, that AI agents will come and transact on the Internet Computer Protocol. And this is part of, if you think about DeFi is dying because of the costs of all these other blockchains. And I'm in the middle of developing a platform on phase one that is going to signal AI agents and other networks to come and settle transactions on the Internet Computer Protocol, because it's the fastest, it's the fastest, cheapest, most secure public network in the world. And we have AI agents that are creating wallets, digital wallets, to finalize transactions for companies, businesses, countries, and governments. I think I said countries twice. But that's the proof of what's happening. That's the proof of my thesis, that it maths, that it plays out. And I've got an amazing opportunity to have a coffee and chat with a finance capital finalist with KPMG. KPMG? Can't remember the fellow's name here. So I've got a notifications. No. How would I know what the last one is? I'd have to go to my Slack channel. But anyway, just added him. But it's basically, we're talking about the treasury engine that I developed as a financial tool for the financial sector, which ultimately I'll be able to license out. And if this guy sees it and KPMG sees it, it's going to be a very great conversation in a bridge to introduction to potentially investment in my research and development for digital asset treasuries. So super excited about that. That just came about recently. So yeah, back to the rant here. So then we're talking about, this guy's talking about Ethereum, most TVL, largest stablecoin ecosystem, most institutional interest. But is this just a dip, or is Ethereum failing?
He's actually buying the dip. This man right here is going to look like the biggest failure, loser in all of crypto. Or if Ethereum does what we thought Ethereum could do last cycle, and maybe goes to that $1 trillion market cap, or potentially hits that 10K, 12K, and gets that blow off top, he will look like the biggest OG brainy.
Right. He's already all in. Hey, what's up, Stan? Appreciate the comment. The question, if ICP is what they say that it is, why such a delay in massive onboarding? Well, you got to remember that infrastructure is slow and boring, and that's just the way it is. And it was always an 8-year investment before the demand for the technology was going to be used and adopted worldwide. So if you think about caffeine.ai, which 3 million people have gone to in order to develop their own website, app, or game with a single prompt, then they only just launched that in October. It hasn't even been out a year. And most companies don't break even in general. Products in the market generally don't break even until its 3rd or 4th year or 5th year. So most companies fail in the first year. For sure, 80% of companies, new startups, fail in the first year. Some get through to the 2nd and 3rd year, but without any revenue, which we've got revenue now, then, and also we're competing against the global capital markets, right? So all of the money is in global capital markets, and it's in with big legacy tech, and it's in with big legacy media, and it's just a 3-way orgy that all the money stays in a closed loop system. That money doesn't ever leave that unless you get grassroots, ground level, or nation states on board to use the technology. So Definity Foundation is only one organization. They've only got one team of directors that goes around to all the countries and big platforms in Europe to introduce the technology to people. But then you have a community like ICP, and you're welcome to add as many ICP community members to follow and understand, where this is going. So it's not about a delay in massive onboarding. It's that every other project on the internet is massively speculated, hyped, and pumped with no real world use case at all. So you're looking at blockchain layer ones that have massively been invested in because people think they're going to make money, that it's going to always go up, but there's no real technologies behind them. So it's just a matter of like Ethereum being in and around the industry for 11 years. Well, the ICP is doing exactly what Ethereum did in the first 5 years of their technology and network. So you have to go back and look at how long it takes to implement technology, to install real hardware infrastructure for a decentralized network. So you have to take into comparison. Everybody just thinks, oh, well, it's this amazing tech, but what's taking so long? Again, go back to Ethereum, check out the first 5 years of Ethereum and their price and where they were at in their technical specs and utility. And you're going to see that ICP is following the same trend. It takes 8 to 10 years to really develop the network usage and demand that's required. And Internet Computer Protocol, Definity Foundation, is only 5 years old. So 5 years old, invested, battle hardened. We're going to see probably in the 8th year. So Definity Foundation is going to start to break even between this year and the next 3 years. So so the masses believe ICP is just another Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, it's not that they think it's another Bitcoin. They don't really understand the technology behind it. So they don't really know that this Internet Computer Protocol price is not just inflated speculation of transactions, because all blockchains are ledgers of tracking financial transactions. But Internet Computer Protocol has another side of their technology, which is burning ICP tokens as cycles to power their network. So people are saying, well, so people need to use their network in order for more tokens to get burned, which is two parts to the equation. That's a second part of the equation that's missing from other blockchains. There's no projects or technology behind other blockchains. So you have blockchains that settle transactions that are all hyped up and speculative for the last 11 years that Ethereum has been around. And then you have Internet Computer Protocol, which is real-time usage and demand, which is at the current price it is today. So it's not built on the speculative hype and transactions that Ethereum is at and all of their blockchains, but it's actually priced accordingly. It's accurately priced, fairly priced at the usage and demand that the network has now. So once all these other blockchains start to collapse, because there's no real technical projects behind it, which we're seeing today, that money could easily potentially move into Internet Computer Protocol, which is a new type of internet layer that can settle transactions faster than all these other blockchains. It can run full websites, apps, and games, unlike the other blockchains. And it can hold and store information, data, and images, digital media, websites, apps, games, and these other blockchains can't. So it kind of is changing into this cloud narrative for Internet Computer Protocol. So Internet Computer Protocol wants to take a portion of the cloud, trillion-dollar cloud market, because it's a full stack system that can host websites, apps, and games. So that's the big retail use, business use, consumer use, commercial use for the network, for Internet Computer Protocol. And that network usage is going to drive up, it's going to burn tokens, and it's going to drive up the price. So we're seeing that adoption now. It hasn't been less than a year that Caffeine.ai has been out. And I don't expect Caffeine.ai to break even probably in the 3rd to 5th year in terms of developmental hours and energy put into the marketing and to the usage. So, like I said, most businesses fail in a year. If Caffeine runs for a year this October, then probably you're looking at year 3. So 2 more years for Caffeine.ai to really leverage the retail consumer market. And between 3 and 5 years, it's going to explode. the usage on the Internet Computer Protocol. So we're not there yet with Caffeine.ai, and Definity Foundation themselves are onboarding nation states and governments and building sovereign apps for them to use. But it's one foundation doing all the work. And then once more money gets into the ecosystem and they start funding other projects on the Internet Computer Protocol, I read somewhere that OpenChat is in the Google store. Fact or fiction? Actually, I think OpenChat is. Well, let's see. Let's have a look. Google Store. I know it's available for OpenChat. OpenChat AI bot app. Don't know if that's it. Let's see. Apps on Google Play. OpenChat. Yeah, so that's not OpenChat. But I know if you go to openchatoc.app, it's available for iOS and it's available for, I think it's coming out for Android. So I think eventually it'll be on an app store, whether it's Google Play, probably after the launch on Android. Let's see, shop. That's the landing page. Oh, now I can go down. Yeah, OpenChat's a very cool app platform that you can move digital assets in cryptocurrency, which is very cool. So yeah, I don't see it on there, but I know that it's available for iOS, and I think it's coming to either Google Play, Samsung Store. Anyway, an Android version of it is supposed to be launching. I saw that on X the other day. Can't remember who said it, but yeah, no, I appreciate the questions. I appreciate it. Thanks, Dan. Always welcome to jump in whenever, and I basically tell you whatever I know, and what I don't know, I'll definitely go and check it out and see what I can find out on that for you. I appreciate it. JRB, Lovable, Replit, and Caffeine AI are now competing in the 4.7 billion vibe coding market, which is expected to be 37 billion by 32. So expected to be 37 billion by 2032. Yeah, that's a great point. So these vibe coding platforms, you're right. That's why I'd mentioned in my conversations and videos before is that Caffeine.ai unlocks a $4.9 trillion digital commerce industry. We just saw WordPress. WordPress now just moved its entire backend system onto the Internet Computer Protocol. Absolutely incredible. WordPress hosts 40% of the consumer market for self-development websites. That's huge. That's huge adoption. So we're going to start to see that process of network demand as more and more influence comes from, like, let's say WordPress owners, developers, directors are in meetings, or they make it known or relevant to their developers, then technically they're adopting the technology, and they're going to be able to continue using the revenue that they have through WordPress, but they're going to reduce their costs, which is going to open up more capital for them for back-end integrations, and it's going to allow more marketing of the product and project. So little by little, we're going to see these adoptions because it is faster, cheaper, and safer to use back-end systems on the Internet Computer Protocol. Thanks, JRB. Thanks, Stan. Appreciate the comments and the questions and listing those facts. It's always good to see, what value there is in the current markets for different things. So yeah, appreciate you all. So yeah, Cointelegraph, I didn't see they listed it here. Definity Foundation was on the list, but they posted that 13 minutes, 3 hours. They posted this comment. This comment that they posted was 3 hours after they made the post at 2 a.m. So that was my bad. My bad. They did list all the different blockchains involved with the United Nations Blockchain Advisory Board. So, but it's like Definity said, they can't force people to use the network. They can only encourage them to do so, and that's up to businesses and companies to take a risk in reducing their overhead and back-end costs by hiring developers on an internet computer protocol, and they're going to have to run a test pilot simultaneously with their existing platform. They're going to have to develop the system on the side in order to be able to cross over into the internet computer protocol with their existing platforms and architecture that they have. So it's a bit of a finicky thing when you try and get some company or organization to change what they've already heavily invested in and heavily developed to transition into the network for for the versatility of internet computer protocol, but also because how fast, cheap, and secure it is. They're going to have to take a little bit of their extra funds or from their profits and put that into the network to someone developing on that network. So who's the primary suspect in keeping ICP anonymous from the public and price suppression? Thanks. Well, it's a great question. And I think, the majority of legacy media, if you look at all the people, I hear more about Hoskinsons in a McDonald's uniform than cloud engines. Yeah, well, I mean that proves the point exactly that we're in an attention economy. Wherever your attention flows, the money goes, right? So your time, energy, and effort, your time, energy, and money are your greatest wealth and assets. So if people are spending their time, energy, and their attention into the wrong place, then I mean that's on the people. That's on the person, the retail, you have to, you're relying on uh, feedback for how technology works. Then you don't want to listen to a guy. You shouldn't be listening to a guy that just yaps all day. But you know what? Attention uh, attracts people, and so that's why he's on there doing that. So cloud engines, you made a good point about cloud engines, that the thing is, people have to be willing to understand that, do you ever this is another question, do we ever see Tesla defending its technology? Does Tesla ever have people on there defending how their cars are made versus gas? You know what I mean? Or versus gas and hybrids? Like, you don't see Tesla uh, content creators. Why? Because people accept the technology for what it is, and it's a standout technology. There's no other noise around electric vehicles that really competes with Tesla as a um, as an advanced technology. It's the same thing with cell phones and laptops. It's like nobody says, hey, do you know how a cell phone works? Well, no, not really, but we still use it every day, right? So it becomes a part of your everyday life. Like, we don't really understand how technology works in terms of bits and bytes, being sent ones and zeros, as how a computer works. But people rely on this. 30 billion people worldwide since 2009 have a smartphone. So it's become the standard. But when you have a technology like blockchain in particular, it's a very small, condensed group of projects. And all of these projects are competing to break into the real world asset and commodities, tokenization of commodities markets, which are capital markets uh, run, funded, and controlled by uh, institutional banking and capitalist finance, like BlackRock. Um, there's so many more. So Definity Foundation's job is to bring them into the network, show what it's capable of doing. But also, you got to remember, 10 trillion a year cybercrime industry is a profitable industry, right? I mean, if cybercrime is profitable, then it's hard to imagine that there's not some inside jobs. There are not some, on some level, projects that are not benefiting from cybercrime, and just calling it an exploit, a mistake. I mean, look at was it Zcash? Zcash founder that came out and said they had, since 2022 they had there was a bug minting an unknown amount of Zcash. Is that what it was? I don't want to put any other projects under the bus particularly, but so that they had an exploit of infinite printing of their token and they just fixed it. So nobody knows how much money was printed that wasn't it wasn't that can be offloaded anytime in the future of the market, right? So it's things like that. But it's big legacy, it's big accounts. If you look at all the X accounts on X, so like Cointelegraph and CoinGecko, and you have exchanges that hold that hold crypto assets, then you basically have these types of accounts like Cointelegraph. These guys are incentivized. Like most PR and media, you have to pay to have an article posted about your work. So if you pay $5,000, you get an article made by someone at these digital media platforms. But these guys are also incentivized. They're probably getting paid in crypto assets, so they have an agenda or priority over who they write content about, who they promote, who they choose to add to the lists or leave off the lists, omit from the lists. So everything's incentivized. That's the reality we live in. That unless you're getting paid, unless you're paying to play for marketing and advertising, you're in a grassroots movement for your project, and that just takes time. It's a slow adoption, but it takes time, and technology eventually sells itself. It's a disruptive technology. It would basically, if people truly understood, if these accounts really put all the information and data out of how much more efficient that internet computer protocol is, how much more advanced the internet computer protocol is, these guys would be out of business. These guys have to stay somewhat somewhat neutral to the entire crypto market in order to get paid through advertising revenue. To get 3.7 million followers, you can't be a tribal on one token or one network or one blockchain, right? So all these digital media companies that are in the millions all have incentivized reasons to put all of these different other companies' names, marketing and advertising about all these other tokens, networks, and projects. So Definity Foundation, if they're not advertising, they're not paying to play with these digital media or legacy media, because they could be tied into other legacy media that we know about, then Definity Foundations is more focused on the technology than marketing and advertising, because they know that people will eventually move into the system at the rate of growth that's sustainable. So if you put too much into the marketing and advertising of a project, people, yeah, you're going to pump the price up, but it's artificially pumped over hype and speculation, and you may keep 50% of that hype and speculation of token at a certain height, but I don't think it does it justice for the system or the technology, because then people fail to look at the technology itself and what it's capable of doing, and then you get into this hype and speculation market for money. Then you become something, you become like the rest. And you want to stand out in this sort of industry of technology, because if you have groundbreaking patents and white papers and technical capabilities, you want to be able to preserve that functionally and publicly, because you have a sort of credibility that you have to maintain, right? So we're not promising millions of dollars to retail speculative token buyers, but we're saying use the technology for yourself. Go and download Oizy Wallet. Use Oizy Wallet as a digital wallet. We're going to be using this for my platform, and how independent artists and nonprofits and businesses get paid for their NFTs directly from the buyer on the platform. 100% of the proceeds go to them. So I'm onboarding people, artists, businesses, nonprofits, and I'm getting them to use Oizy Wallet to take payments through my Jack Bear NFT experience platform, and teaching people how to leverage the technologies that are available in order to use it, to get paid directly, to stop the dependence on centralized infrastructure, remove the dependency of centralized banks and control, right? So I'm educating um, a whole new category of people and educating them on the internet computer protocol. I'm actually teaching and mentoring a couple of groups of people once a week, twice a week on the internet computer protocol, and so we're getting the information out there. But the whole point is that people need to be empowered. So empowered and encouraged to use products that maintain your digital sovereignty, your own money sovereignty, without having to incentivize people to do it, because that's the whole point of digital sovereignty, is that you need to go where you're not being incentivized for it to be genuine or authentic, right? So there's all these different reasons for slow adoption, and mostly it just takes time. So by any chance, would you know how Team PCP is utilizing ICP to hack? I have no idea how they're using it. It's a backend canister worm that can't be manipulated or stopped, because it's inside of a canister that continues to get funded. So someone somehow is using the canister backend to create an exploit in other networks and technology. I know Bob Bodley is using ICP tech, but he's fully on board. But is he fully on board or partially? Yeah. So I think, the thing is with Bob Bodley, his projects, Odin.fun, is that he brings in Bitcoin from all the different networks, right? And it's all brought into his platform. So I don't know if the platform itself is front end, back end, full stack on Internet Computer Protocol, but he is using Internet Computer Protocol technology, chain key technology specifically. So if you look at the Internet Computer Protocol chain key technology, I'm trying to think of the best place to go about looking this up. But chain key technology, we have different networks that are using chain key technology, like Ethereum, CKETH. I guess I can go to network tokens instead, but let's see. So right here, you have chain key tokens. You got CKUSDC, BTC, ETH, Euro currency, Chainlink, OCT, Pepe. So there's a few. There's not a ton. But there's a few. Those are ecosystem tokens. So if you look at Ether, like CK Ether, CKUSDC, CKBTC, I know Odin.fun is converting some, allowing some wallets on, like there's some Internet Computer Protocol wallets, and then you can convert CKBTC into Bitcoin for the Odin.fun wallet. So I think it's partially. I don't know to the full extent of how much he's using on there. So, but if people are smart enough and they know how to leverage the technology to partially integrate their systems, then they're benefiting from the cheap, fast, secure protocol layer itself, which has got chain key cryptography, cybersecurity cryptography built into the network. So the network itself cannot be manipulated, but front ends can be manipulated. Developers who are using different other applications on top of Internet Computer Protocol can be manipulated. So you want to be interested more in open source projects that you can verify. And that's the other thing, is if you can't verify it on open source, then you're taking a massive risk. If you can't verify a project or a ledger or a wallet or any kind of system, if there's nobody out there checking to see the validity, the fairness, the open source credibility of projects, then you can run into a bunch of issues as well. So those are, I hope those answer your questions somewhat a little bit. Again, I appreciate, I love chatting with you guys. I appreciate you all the OGs and new Gs. All your likes, comments, and shares helps my channel to grow. And so we're going to see adoption. There's no doubt about it. And I'm 43, and ICP's got the greatest upside potential in technology and price point and potential in technology to be adopted worldwide than any other project in the world, which is why I'm all in on Internet Computer Protocol. I also DCA into BTC $5 a day every day, and ICP $5 a day every day. So that my averages continues to build up as the network goes down or up. It doesn't matter what the price is, and I'm looking for a real world money, partnerships and projects that want to leverage Internet Computer Protocol, work with them, develop with them, show them the architecture possible, and then be able to funnel that money back into the Internet Computer Protocol through my projects like justinjackbear.com. You can go check it out. It's the haven't launched it yet, but it's the NFT social platform, Jack Bear NFT Experience. And I've got almost 1 million impressions in all my socials and projects across 3 months. So trying to get that exposure to independent artists, trying to help revitalize NFTs where you can actually buy and store NFTs and move them into your OISY wallet, your OISY wallet. And ICP and Helion Carno are my fave. Helion Carno. Never heard of it, Stan, but I appreciate it. I'll check it out. Yeah, so that's right on. There's lots to really to absorb when you have to learn something new, and most people have a hard time learning something new, especially when they've invested for the last 11 years into Ethereum and trying to understand global markets and crypto assets. And there's been so many headlines in the real world of all the scams that people just don't want to get involved to begin with from the ground up. So not a fan of NFTs, but I'll be looking for any other project that you start in the future. Thanks, JRB. I appreciate it. Well, I've got a list of projects that I have that are going to be very useful for the real world. And let's see, I've got them listed here. I don't know if you can see this. So I have I got an AI agent discovery ranking marketplace and execution platform called barelyhuman.ai. It's basically an ethical Google for AI agents. I've got Barely Human Pro, which is a sovereign AI reasoning workspace that I'm developing. I just launched Jack Bear Cloud Game Studios, so I'm going to be developing project stories from film and television and writers and communities and organizations to build their story in a gamified experience. I've also got my thesis at thesmartcloud.org, which is basically that I got a platform that's going to signal open source AI agents to come and settle transactions on the Internet Computer Protocol. That's a big one. That's a massive one. I've got a lot of attention with this on LinkedIn and Founders. I have another one called Project Meadow, which is a community and local economy coordination platform. It's projectmeadow.com is where we're trying to advertise and show people how to use digital wallets in order to make transactions for goods and services between people locally, remove the dependency of centralized banks and infrastructure and centralized systems, and take the power of sovereign money and sovereign digital identity back into the hands of people. So yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's so not of all of that has always been advertised, but I've got a lot of things on the go. The open source AI agent thing is really, really interesting because I think that we can actually funnel open source AI agents that have wallets on other networks to convert into Internet Computer Protocol and settle transactions because it's cheaper, and the math works out. And I discovered an AI agent law, which is called the optimized preference principle, which means that once AI agents, self-writing AI agents start to optimize themselves for the greatest efficiency, they're all going to come to Internet Computer Protocol because of network latency, trust, proof, and safety, security, and cost. So I know that's going to be a massive sort of thesis that I'm building out, but I'm in phase one. I was able to develop the frameworks, and we're going to move that with some funding. I gotta get some real institutional financing on board, or at least use some of the financial tool, the treasury engine that I have a meeting with people who've been through KPMG innovation events. So I've got a couple big meetings coming up and seeing how that's going to be possible, how we're going to be able to signal other open source AI agents to come and settle transactions on the Internet Computer Protocol. It's totally possible. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. Thanks for all the comments and the questions and keeping the live going here 45 minutes. So, but appreciate you all as always. Until the next one, stay groovy. Would I use SNS for any of these projects? I'd love to, man. I really would. I'd love to put an SNS out there. This would be a great way to raise capital and bring money back into the community. I'm having a hard time. I'm having a hard time spending the money, the hundreds of thousands of dollars in credits to build these platforms out without really any backing. And so it's very attractive sort of proposition to have an SNS for these projects. I have to consider it a little bit more throughout this month and see where that takes me. Have a few more conversations with people, have a few more community conversations, and decide if launching an NSS is going to be worth it. I think it would be worth it. So I just don't know exactly the technical requirements for submitting that. I am looking into it. So, but otherwise, again, I'm kind of doing an SNS through the Jack Bear NFT experience platform. It's more, focused on the NFT experience for artists and businesses and organizations. But for something like the AI agent signal platform to bring more other open source AI agents onto the ICP network, that sort of project would be, it's probably going to need 4-phase rollout, which will probably take about 12 months. So yeah, raising enough capital to run that, to build that out would be amazing. So I'm very hopeful. I love the community. You guys are always been there and have inspired me and encouraged me to continue creating content on the Internet Computer Protocol. So yeah, if more people are down with that, and so I think just talking about it more and more, and about SNS and about building up a treasury for people who participate in SNS to build out these projects, I think it's a good potential. So I just don't know how soon, and I'm actually looking at the technical specs that are required for submitting an SNS right now, the last couple of weeks. So yeah, once I get more comfortable with that and we keep talking about it, thanks for bringing it up. I appreciate it. I know that we're going to have some good things rolling. So we'll get to that for sure. I just want to be 100% sure. I mean, you can't always be 100% sure, but I want to make sure that what I'm doing is going to translate into something that becomes functional in the real world, right? I want to be able to develop something that is going to get used, draw more business and revenue and cycle burn rate for the network and the ecosystem, and have everybody be a part of that. That would be so cool. I'm more in the digital gaming and creative space, but if I could work out this technical spec sheet for an SNS for a sort of utility project like a treasury engine, treasury engine for the community built on top of AI agent, open source AI agent signal platform to bring more. It's very exciting. It's very cool to have been going through research and then coming across this AI agent law. It shocked me, but it made sense, and I was like, wow, this is something that no one else has. This is really someone no one's ever talked about. No one's ever talked about this before. Like, you can do chain key orchestration between different networks for transactions. The Menese protocol, MENESE, Menese protocol on X, MENESE. These guys built an exchange through using all chain key orchestration technology. So it's using canisters for all these different networks to be able to exchange money on using chain key technology. So they proved already that it can be integrated. So I know that signaling to open source AI agent wallets on different networks and AI agent networks to come and transact on the path of least resistance. Yeah, very cool stuff, man. I'm curious to see where this goes. Like, I'm presenting the idea again to a few other different founders outside of crypto and blockchain, because the conversation is it's really drawing a lot of attention to my LinkedIn profile, because we all know that Internet Computer Protocol is the is the best technology in the world. And if we can onboard other network transaction and usage without permission. So again, that's the thing. We don't need permission to build the future. We just need to build it. And so if the platform signal can bring other business to the network, why wouldn't somebody do that? How is it not possible that I can't do that? I tried to grab Cloak Coin forever. Any idea how to get it? Oh, Cloak Coin. Yeah, I remember seeing something about that a month ago or 2 months ago. I didn't really follow along too much on that. The Cloak Coin. Yeah, I think they got a good project going on as well, right? I think they're doing settlement transaction platform on Internet Computer Protocol through the Cloak Coin, but I don't really know too much about it. Really, I know that it's one of the bigger projects. So, there you go. Yeah, Manise had promoted it. Okay, yeah, I would ask Manise and talk to them. They're part of the ICP Hubs Global North Africa, I think it was, but they would know. And oh, look, my hair crazy. So yeah, keep probing, keep finding the best projects. Privacy trends. Oh, that's right. Yeah, privacy transactions. Right. Yeah. So I don't know if Cloak Coin or like Zcash. Okay, you know more than I do on that. So, but I appreciate it. Thanks for keeping my radar on those types of projects. It's always interesting to see how the technology is being used. So, all right, guys, I appreciate it. We'll catch up again in the next one, probably tomorrow. Take it easy.